Oke, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You're so lazy to answer my greetings. Good afternoon. Oke, thank you. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Om Swastiastu. Yang terhormat Bapak Rektor tercinta kita, Dr. Insinyur Muhammad Wahyudi MM MKom MPD IPU ASEAN Inc. Yang terhormat Ibu Warek 1 bidang akademik kita yang tercinta, Ibu Diah Puspitasari MKom. Yang terhormat Bapak Warek 2 kita yang paling ganteng, Mr. Soharyanto MKom. Dan yang terhormat Bapak Kaprodi kita dari Kaprodi Sastra Inggris yang kebetulan hadir di lokasi saat ini, Mr. Dr. Agus Priyadi MPD on the backstage, okay. And also untuk kepada seluruh Kaprodi dari setiap masing-masing kampus yang tidak bisa saya sebutkan satu persatu, saya juga mengucapkan selamat datang kepada seluruh mahasiswa yang hadir di second session for tips and tricks how to do the TOEFL test with Lembaga Bahasa. Selamat datang semuanya. Are you good? Have take lunch? Not yet. Jujur jawabannya? Well, okay. Allow me, okay, as your moderator today, first of all, my name is Yanti Rosalina SSMPD. Okay, I am the head of Lembaga Bahasa Universitas Binasaran Informatika. Salam kenal ya semuanya. Okay, usually my students call me Miss Yanti. Okay, you may call the same version with them. Okay, allow me to inform about our agenda of this afternoon. First of all, we already done, okay, within the video opening, okay, from 2 orang mahasiswa sastra Inggris yang lolos, 2 kegiatan dari Prodi Sastra Inggris yang lolos program, okay, IISMA dan juga ICT. Ini program pertukaran pelajar ya, oke, yang sudah dilalui dan kuliah di Korea kemarin, mahasiswa sastra lolos. Mungkin kalian akan menyusul melanjutkan studi ke luar, who knows kan? Dan itu membutuhkan tes TOEFL bukan ya? Ya, because of that seminar of today will give it to you the understanding and the knowledge information about how to do the TOEFL test, okay? Kita sudah mengikuti rangkaian kegiatan daring, pelatihan dari tim Lembaga Bahasa, dari dosen praktisi dan juga staf tim Lembaga Bahasa, dan kita akan mengikuti tes on 7 until 8 August. Persiapan hari ini, saya minta you pay attention, okay, dari pemateri kita yang sudah hadir dengan gagahnya di sebelah kiri saya, ada Mr. Bernard de Grover BA, okay, yang akan memberikan materi kurang lebih 1 jam setelah kita menyanyikan lagu Indonesia Raya. Kemudian after Mr. Bernard giving the material, ada question and answer session, and after that we are doing the documentation together. I need you to prepare a question guys regarding about the material, or even though pertanyaan apapun yang kalian ingin sekali tanyakan relate dengan TOEFL test yang akan kalian lakukan nanti. Remember guys, you need 400 minimum score ya untuk dapat mengambil ijazah nantinya. Jadi manfaatkan kesempatan kali ini untuk bertanya. Oke semuanya? Oke, paham ya? Ayo get it? Oke. Be quiet please during the presentation. But after that, we have a question and answer session. Noisy is okay, but raise your hand to ask the question. That's it. Untuk mempersingkat waktu, saya panggilkan our guest speaker, Mr. Bernard. Big applause, please. Okay. My bro.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, thank you. Please, Mr.
Hello. Good afternoon. Wis mangan dorong? Ya wis mangan pantaru ya. Yeah. We have some orang Jawa here, yeah? Because I'm bule Jawa. Okay. Thank you for coming today. I'm really impressed with Bina Sarana. It's a beautiful school. And I love the jackets. The color is my favorite color. All right, we're going to talk about tips and strategies for TOEFL test. Because I think next month, August, you have to take the test, right? Oh my God. Yeah, there's a few things that will help you, but the most important, start right now. Practice, 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 practice. And when you get tired of practicing, practice some more. Okay, so let's go through. Let's see. Where are we? Okay. Preparing. Rule number 1. Jangan panik. Don't panic. If you get very nervous, your brain is going to be all confused and then you don't get a good score. All right, so don't panic. Some basic information. For the paper-based PBT, there are 3 sections, I think. I don't think you have the essay on this one. Is that right? Or you do, but that's very complex. But you have the listening, structure and writing, and reading comprehension. So 3 sections. Each one has time limits, and part of your practice is to practice the time limit so that you get used to how much time for each question. That's the important thing. When you're doing your practice time, get the official TOEFL practice book. It's very helpful, gives you an idea of what the test looks like, and the practice is building your skill piece by piece, so that when you get to the end of each section, then you feel very comfortable with that section, with the listening or the reading or the structure and writing. That's basically grammar, right? You love grammar. I know. I can see from your face you are a grammar kind of guy. Study habit. Very important, study habit. Start now. Make your study habit. All right? Apa sih? Select a time every day for just reviewing and studying for the TOEFL. All right? I recommend 1 hour every day. No days off. No time off for good behavior. 1 hour every day. Go into your room where it's quiet. Turn off the handphone. Turn it off. For 1 hour, you will survive without a handphone. I promise. Turn it off. No distraction. And it's important that you do this every day so you get in the habit, all right, and it makes it much easier. Let's see. Study schedule, we already talked about that. Make sure I'm on the right one. All right, so using the official books, I think Longman, Pearson, Kaplan, McGraw-Hill, they all produce official TOEFL books that have old questions from past tests, so you can see the real format, and also the way that they're laid out helps you build your skill one step at a time so you don't get all frustrated. Okay. All right, we're on the same one. Okay. Listening comprehension. There are basically 3 types of listening questions, or 3 types of listening problems. One is short conversation, usually 2 people talking back and forth. Then a longer conversation, usually more than 2 people, say 3 or 4. That's the one that always scares me, because then you have all these people talking at the same time and you're like, oh my God, I'll never understand it. And then there's the lecture. You'll have like a professor talking about something, some subject. And what you should do, there are 2 things when you get to the listening. First of all, take notes. Take notes. Write down the information that you hear. Details. Okay? Maybe the conversation is, I'm going to the store, do you want something? Oh, sure, we need a loaf of bread. Okay, and anything else? Why not pick up some milk? All right, and then the questions will be, where is he going? What is he buying? What does she want? That kind of thing. What items? And you have to answer the questions. When you start the listening section, look at the questions really quickly. And the questions will tell you what information to listen for. This is, you should have learned this on other English tests, but when they play the listening, read the questions really quickly, and that will tell you what information you have to listen for. Sometimes they do the making a hotel reservation, and they, when will you arrive, what time, how many days are you going to stay, and the questions will be about those details. Who is coming, Mrs. Smith, and arriving on the 13th, and staying for 3 days, and you have to listen for all this information and make some notes. Write it down so you don't forget. You have 2 chances on each one. They will play it all the way through, and then wait for a second, and then play it again, and that's all you get. You can't say, oh, can I hear it again? No, too bad. The one thing that's also important, each section has a time limit. And when you're doing your practice session, look at how many questions you have and how much time you have to answer them. All right, so for instance, for an example, you have 30 questions and 60 minutes. All right, so 30 into 60, you get 2 minutes per question. Now, it's a little bit less than that. I think it's 1.5 minutes per question. So you don't have time to sit and worry about all the details. First of all, multiple choice. We love multiple choice, don't we? Or we call it multiple guess. There's usually 4 answers, and usually 2 of them are obviously wrong. Like really wrong, like there's no doubt that they're wrong. And then the other 2 you have to think about. So you've got a 50-50 chance. First of all, figure out which of the 2 are obviously wrong, throw them away, and then look at the other 2 and try to figure out the best answer. On the TOEFL test, you do not get a penalty for a wrong answer. This helps you in a couple of ways. No penalty means that you can go through and not even take the test and just fill in all the bubbles, and you won't lose any points for the wrong ones, and you gain points for the right ones. But you don't want to do that, because just on luck, just on complete sheer dumb luck, you'll get 10% to 20%. All right? But you want 70 to 80% at least. So you can't do that. But are you familiar with the expression low-hanging fruit? Low-hanging fruit means going for the easy one. So go through, select the ones that you know are obvious, all right? You already know the right answer. So select those first, get the easy ones out of the way. Then you'll have, I don't know, a few of them, 10 maybe, that are more difficult, and you have to think about them. But if you get the easy ones out of the way, then you'll have extra time. You'll know how much time you have to worry about the other ones. But here's the thing. Don't spend too much time. What is it? You don't know? Don't spend too much time on any one question. If you can't figure it out, skip it. Just skip it. Go on to the next one. Sometimes a later question will have the answer to the other question that you couldn't figure out. Sometimes. So keep going. Don't stop. Just skip the one you can't think of. And when you get to the end of the section, when you have extra time, go back and just fill in the bubbles that you skipped. All right? Don't worry about right or wrong answer. Just fill them in. Guess. The reason is because if you get those wrong, it doesn't count against you, but if you get one right, it helps you. Okay? All right. But don't do that with everything, because we want to give you the highest possible score. All right. Taking notes, listening for keywords, that's important. Managing time, make sure you know how much time you have for each question. That's part of your practice. And for the structure and written structure and written expression, this is the grammar and vocabulary section. So you're going to have questions where they will give you a sentence and something will be wrong in the sentence. You have to find what is wrong and you have to select the correction from the answers. One of the things that they will ask a lot of is prepositions and pronouns. Prepositions and pronouns. The hardest thing in any language are the prepositions, because they're never the same from one language to the next, any of them. So they might say, he got down from the car. Now in English, you never say get down, you say get out of the car, right? You knew that. You're a star, man.
No.
No, when somebody says say something, you go, something. Ya kan? Say something. I want your autograph, man. Okay. So, in addition to practicing the test, make sure that you're also practicing your grammar. Make sure you're aware of the tenses, the noun-verb agreement. All right, is if the noun, the subject is plural, the verb has to be plural. Yeah? Ya kan? Okay. Yeah, so be sure that all of these little details you keep in mind. This is why when you do the practice tests, it helps you because it makes you sensitive, makes you aware of the things that you need to know. And it will tell you that, oh, look, when I'm taking the test, I tend to get the prepositions wrong. So I need to focus on that. It tells you where to focus your attention for practice. Ya kan? What? Why are you looking at me like that? All right, so be aware of this. Do the practice test because, in fact, I recommend doing 3 practice tests, full tests. Not just each section, but the full test with a time limit. Do 3 of them. 1 before you start practicing, 1 in the middle, and then 1 close to when you're going to take the real test. The first one is your baseline. Then the second score should be higher. So if your first test is 700, your second test should be about 720, 725, and your last test should be about 750 or more. So what you're seeing is from the baseline to the time that you're ready to take the exam, the test, you're seeing steady improvement. You're going up, and that's what you want. You want to, the practice test has given you feedback telling you where you start, where you finish, and helping you identify things that you need to study, things that you need to practice. So it's very, very helpful. Parts of speech. If you don't know by now, you should know that every sentence has a subject, a verb, and an object. Sometimes it's a direct object, sometimes it's an indirect object. You should know that by now, yeah? You're like, what? What? Subject, verb, object, what? You got that part? There will be questions on the test that test your knowledge of the structure of the sentence. So be careful with those. And then the reading comprehension. This is the one I think is the easiest part of the test. Not the easy part. There is no easy part. But this one is the easiest of the three. Does that make sense? Yeah? Say hello, Jakarta.
Dinda.
I love it. Okay. Reading comprehension is, there is a problem with this section. If you read the entire selection, if you read every one of the reading selections, you will not have time to finish. It doesn't matter how fast you can read or how accurate you can read. You do not have enough time if you try to read everything. Yakan? So, here's your strategy. Go down to the questions, look at the questions, and then go back and skim through the reading to find the information you need. All right, that way you don't have to read the whole thing. Now, the questions usually, not always, follow the order of the information in the reading. So the first question, the answer will be at the beginning. The second question, the answer will be a little further. The third question, a little further. So you know from the order of the question about where the answer will be. All right, so this is something when you're practicing, you get a feel for where you can find the answer in the reading without having to read the whole thing. So if you're reading a paragraph about flowers, and the second paragraph has information about daffodils, and it says daffodils come in white and yellow varieties. All right, and the four answers say that daffodils come in black, orange, white, and yellow. Or black, orange, white, and pink. All right, well, you know two of them, black and orange, no. And then the other two, you're not sure. So skim through and you see, daffodils. Oh, look, varieties, white and yellow. And the only answer that matches is yellow, so that's your correct answer. Two of them you eliminated. The other two you just skim through. You find the information, look at the answers, there's the correct one, put it in. All right, don't waste a lot of time reading the whole thing. That's how they trick you. They want you to get used to in college, you've got stacks of books to read, right? I know you never read any of them, but you're supposed to read them all, right? So learning the skills, and then when you get into your jobs, the boss is going to hand you a pile of paper like this and say, here, give me a summary. And that's when you go to ChatGPT and you go, summarize this topic right here. No, don't do that. Because ChatGPT lies. It lies. ChatGPT is a liar. Don't use it for studying the TOEFL. All right. Inference, if you're not used to this, to infer something means that it's not stated, but we know from the information what's being talked about, right? So, if I said, take 2 eggs, chop up 1 onion, get 2 tablespoons of butter, and some thyme and some garlic powder. What am I talking about? What is that? What is it? What? It's a recipe, right? Yeah, we know just from the things I was talking about that that's a recipe. You don't have to know what it is, what the recipe is, but you know because I said take 2 eggs and chop up an onion and a little garlic powder and some butter and all that. And you know, okay, they're talking about a recipe. All right, so that's inferred information. Even though in the passage it doesn't say recipe anywhere. But we know that the correct answer is recipe from the context, from inferring what's being said, right? Yeah. Of course it's right. It's from me. So, inference is something that requires practice, and there's plenty of practice in the TOEFL books. You can use there's a lot of online resources. The problem is that most of them will help you with the IBT, the internet-based test, but it's different from the paper-based test. If you are practicing for the IBT, it won't help you a lot with the PBT because the format, the layout, the structure is all very different. And there's different strategies for each one. Now, in addition, it could help, but as the only practice, it may be more of a problem than a help. All right. Strategies. Practice time management. We've already discussed this. Know how long each section is. So the listening section, you have 60, 75 minutes, something like that. All right, and you have 100 questions. All right, so that gives you 30 seconds per question, which means you really got to go fast. And that's why I say go through, get the low-hanging fruit, the ones you know for sure. Come back and get the ones that are a little bit harder. And the ones that you can't figure out, just skip it, get to the end of the section, and use your extra time to go back and fill in the bubbles that you skipped. And don't worry about it, you won't lose points for a wrong answer, and you might gain points just by sheer luck. So how's that that's a great one, isn't it? Okay. Question types. Where am I? All right, each section has different types of questions, and you need to be aware of these because knowing how the questions are worded and how they work will help you find the correct answer. And be careful because some of them are called negative questions. It says, what is not said, what is the opposite of, or contrary to. So the question is looking for an answer that is not in the text or in the listening, and that makes it a little more difficult. And if you don't catch the not part, you'll get the wrong answer, because you're going to put the correct answer, and the question is, what's the wrong answer? Don't you hate it when they do that? I do. Makes me crazy. All right, so in the listening section, let's see, this is for the difficult. We already talked about skip and return, prioritizing, eliminating wrong choices. Like I said, there are usually 4 answers, 4 choices. 2 of them are almost always wrong, like completely wrong. So that eliminates those 2, and you have a 50-50 chance. And usually the right answer and the other one are very close. They're very similar, but one of them is not exactly right. And that makes it really tricky and difficult. So this is where your practice will help you, choosing when you have the right answer and the one that's almost right. The practice sessions will help you choose the right answer and not get fooled by the one that's almost right. Yakan? What? You with me? You with me so far? Mengerti? Ya? Semua jelas? Oke lah kalau begini. Okay. The listening section has 9 different kinds of questions. You should be familiar with each of the types, because each one is looking for different information. Now on the test, it won't tell you, oh, hey, this is a factual question. You have to know from reading the question what it's looking for. So this is where the practice comes in. What kinds of questions are there? What types of questions? How are they normally worded? So that when you read it, you see it, you go, this one is an inference question and wants me to figure out from context what the meaning is. Yeah? All right. And the same with the structure and written expression. This section has 7 different kinds of questions. All right, so there, one, they want you to find a mistake. All right, so some of the questions ask you to find a mistake. Some of the questions, they will give you, usually they'll take a sentence from the reading or the listening, and they'll change the words but have the same meaning. And they want you to fill in the blank or complete the sentence. This section is the one that will have lots of stuff about punctuation, about fill in the blank or find the synonym. So they'll give you a word and ask you to tell this word is the same as or means this word. Yakan? So synonyms, this is one. Sometimes they might ask you for antonyms also, the opposite. Paragraph completion. They'll give you let's say they'll give you 5 sentences, all right, a paragraph, and you have to read it and then figure out what is the next sentence in that paragraph. And the 4 answers will be 4 possible sentences, and you have to know from the previous reading which one follows logically with the other 5. This one is not easy, but practice, practice, practice. And it didn't move. There we go. Reading. Reading again, 9 different types of questions. There'll be a lot of vocabulary. What does this word mean? Sentence insertion. This one, I guess, is similar to the structure, where they'll give you a passage from the reading and then have a sentence and ask you to choose which one fits best with the information in the actual reading. So it's a completion exercise. And I think that, let's see, insertion, vocabulary, inference. There will be a lot of this inference stuff where you have to understand the context and know what's being discussed, even though it's not actually stated. So this is your comprehension part. And then finally, we get to test day tips. All right, so the night before the test, usually you have to have your ID, a couple of pencils, maybe you get to bring some water or some extra paper. I don't know what they let you bring or require you to bring, but the night before, put all of your stuff together in one place, ready to go. Right? What, you? Is it all your fault? No? You deny everything? Yeah, it's the only way to do it. Make sure it's all together so that in the morning you don't wake up and start panicking. Oh my God, where's my ID? Where's my this? Where's my pencils? Where's my... You ever do that? I don't think you ever panic about anything, do you? You're like Mr. Chill. I'm cool, baby. Yeah, look, he's got that whole chill thing going. Yeah. So get all that together in the night before, so that in the morning you don't have to worry. You just pick up your bag and go. Make sure you know where the test is going to be, so you don't get there and then, oh, I can't remember, where is it? You know what I do? If it's really important, I actually go the day before and do a practice run. Like when I have an important job interview or something, I will go down there the day before and find it, so that the next day I know I feel confident, I can get there, I'm relaxed, I'm not stressed out. Get a good night's sleep. Again, turn off the handphone, turn off the TV, turn off the light. I don't know, are you scared of the dark? You might want to leave the night light on, yeah? See what happens when I zap you with the laser? It's like the Terminator, right? You see the laser and you go, oh my God! All right, so you have everything together. You already know where you're going. You can relax, you go to bed early, you turn off your handphone, turn off the TV, let your mind relax, all right, let your brain waves go, and then the next day, leave early. If you know it's going to take you an hour to get there, give yourself an hour and a half. Because what you don't want is to get to the testing site and you're late and you're just panicked and your mind is all a mess because you can't focus. You're just, oh my God, I'm late. So get there early. You can sit down, get some AC, have a drink of water, relax, do some meditation. Om Mani Padme Hum. All right, get your mind clear. Get there early. And what else do we need? Organize your test materials. All right, we already mentioned that. Arrive early, we mentioned that. And get adequate rest, we mentioned that. Avoid cramming. Do you know what cramming is? Cramming is when you didn't do any practice and then the next day is the test. And so you're up all night trying to learn everything in 3 hours. And it doesn't work. Cramming never works because everything goes into your short-term memory and then it's gone. If it's not in your long-term memory, you'll never be able to remember it on the test. And it will get all the rules and everything will get all scrambled up. And then you'll be on the test and you'll be panicked because you can't remember anything. And then you're not thinking clearly. And then your score will be like 327. And you'll be really disappointed and go, I'm not a good person. But it's not true. You just weren't prepared. Right? So, be prepared. I think your test is next month. In August, right? Next month is tomorrow. But I think your test is in August. Start now. Start if you should have already started. But if you haven't, start practicing now. Start figuring out what kinds of questions you're going to have, what kinds of readings you're going to have, what kind of listening problems you're going to have. And the more you practice, the more confident you will feel when you take the test. And then the next morning, make sure you eat protein. Do not eat sugar. Do not eat sugar. Sugar will give you a lot of energy really fast, but then when you burn it up, your body will just collapse. Your mind will turn off. Don't eat sugar, eat protein. Have some eggs, some vegetables, a little meat, all right? But don't eat sugar. Don't, what's a bad one? Because starches, I know you guys, you've got to have rice. And rice is a sugar, isn't it? It's a starch, glucose. Yakan? Yeah, and I hate to tell you don't eat rice, but if you can get by with just a little bit of rice, not as much as you normally eat, not the big ball that you like, just have a little rice. Because that sugar will pump you up, and then right in the middle of the exam, you'll run out of energy and your body will just go bleh. So don't try to avoid the sugars and go for something good protein. I know you guys don't eat cheese. You know, I'm a bule, so I eat cheese. I love cheese. I'm a cheese head. And then the rest is just stay calm. Stay calm after you've had your good breakfast. Manage your time. And then the last thing, I don't know what the requirement is here to get out. I didn't ask. But I think you have to have the TOEFL to graduate, right? And probably minimum 700 or 750. Which one? 750? You don't know? I don't either. But you'll probably have to have a score somewhere around 700 or 750 to graduate. And most employers that require English for the job, most employers like about 700 to 750 or higher. So you want to try to get that score. That's where your target is. Except that you need it to graduate, I would say don't worry, because you can take the TOEFL as many times as you like. All right, so if the first time you're not as prepared as you should have been, you can always do it again. But you guys are going to be really prepared. All right? You're going to get your official book and you're going to prepare and do everything according to the book. And when you walk into the test, you're going to feel really confident. Because confident, you don't have to be loud. You exude power and confidence just by your being, just by not being nervous. So, let's, where are we? Okay. Oh, and normally for academic purposes and usually for employment purposes, the TOEFL score is valid for 2 years. So at the end of 2 years, if you need it again, you can retake it. Or if you want to improve your score, some employers pay you more money if you have a higher score, or you get a better position with a higher score, because now everything is international business, and international business is all English, right? Well, unless it's China, and then they do everything in Chinese, right? 你好吗? 谁谁? That's all I know. I need to learn Mandarin. Okay. And I think that's it. You need to remember the most important rule: don't panic. The second most important rule: practice, 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 practice. Third most important rule: practice, 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 practice. Fourth most important rule: practice, 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 practice. The more practice you have, the less worried you'll be, the more prepared you'll be, the more confident you'll feel, and you'll understand and be ready for all those questions. And also the practice, you will read all the instructions for each section on your own time and get to know the sections really, really well. So when you walk in to take the test, you don't have to waste time reading and trying to understand the instructions, because you already did that. And when you walk in, you don't even have to look at the instructions, although it does help. But you don't have to sit there and spend a lot of time trying to understand the instructions, because you'll already know them. So that's a big, big plus. And if you get tired during the test, take a minute, rub your eyes, stretch your arms. All right, but don't take too long, because every time you rub your eyes, you're taking time away from the test. And you will not have enough if you don't focus and get through the test as fast as possible. Ya kan? I know, we call you Speedy back home, man. Okay, that's it. Don't panic. And thank you.
Okay, big applause. Don't do that. Boys, isn't it? Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Bernard, for the presentation. Is it hot? Is it hot? Hot. Hot. Panas sekali. Really? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Mas, Masya Allah. Okay, bagaimana penyampaian Mr. Bernard about tips and tricks how to do the TOEFL test? Is it enough? Okay, paham semuanya? Okay, untuk TOEFL test, like what Mr. Bernard said, practice, 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 and practice. Okay, all the TOEFL questions, even though we are talking about listening, structure, written expression, and also reading, semuanya itu ada tips and tricksnya to answer all the questions. Yang tadi Mr. Bernard sampaikan is clear enough to all of you. Okay, now we have a question and answer session. Okay, do you have a question perhaps to Mr. Bernard? Please raise your hand. A question, please. Yang mau bertanya, silakan tunjuk tangannya. Okay. Pakai bahasa is okay. You wanna have a question? Pakai bahasa nggak apa-apa. Nggak harus bahasa Inggris. Mr. Bernard a little bit spoke bahasa. Bisa. But a little bit. Okay. Question, please. Sebelah kiri saya ada yang ingin bertanya seputar TOEFL test, seputar gimana sih mendapatkan skor 400, kalau bisa lebih. Bagaimana sih cara memahami structure biar cepat mendapat jawaban? The hardest thing in the TOEFL is not only listening, but the hardest thing is the structure and written expression. Mungkin ada yang nggak paham ya mengenai written expression yang dicari apa. Mr. Bernard tadi sudah menjelaskan. Oke, a question please. Yang bertanya silakan. Ini kenapa nggak bertanya? Ini nggak bertanya tuh karena paham atau tidak paham sama sekali what Mr. Bernard told you? Tidak paham. Tidak pahamnya di mana?
I have a question.
No, you have a question. Mr. Bernard have a question to all of you.
Why does nobody ever sit in the front?
They're afraid with you, I think.
Well, you guys, I mean, okay.
No, they were brave. Way. 1,
No,
2, 3,
it's
4,
because
5.
all the seats in the back are already full.
Kenapa
question?
nggak ada yang mau duduk di depan? Saya bilang mereka takut.
You feel
Kenapa
ready?
mereka berani? Mereka pemberani. 4 times.
You
Have a
feel
question, guys.
confident?
They don't have a questions. How come? Any question? Ada
What's your
pertanyaan?
favorite color?
Nah,
Red.
Red, that's interesting.
so
I don't know anybody else that's ever said red. Usually blue or green.
actually black.
Actually, you lied? What? No questions at all?
No question, really?
Semua jelas? Mengerti semua? Oh, you have one?
Ini mereka do not have any question for you, tapi saya berharap to all the participants who are attending in this room siang hari ini, semuanya nanti saya cek namanya, skornya kalau di bawah 400 saya tandain. Deal? Because you don't have any questions. I have your name list. Saya penasaran nih. Ini we have 600 students who are join in the afternoon session with Lembaga
What's your favorite
Bahasa.
hobby?
Nah,
Minta.
Oh, beautiful. Love it.
okay, Mister, I think there's no questions.
No questions.
Your presentation is clear enough, I think.
I guess so.
Yes, they quite understand about
But the problem is I'm getting paid by the question,
you need the question.
which means I did this for free because nobody got any questions. Not really, I'm just teasing.
Not really, just kidding, just kidding. Well, okay, if there is no any question for them, so our last session is documentation.
Thank you.
I need documentation with you and also the students here. We are doing documentation like the previous session.
Oh, really?
Yes. Come on, you wanna try to talk with Mr. Bernard? Pakai bahasa Indonesia. Asking question.
Jangan bilang siapa-siapa.
Mister, you are good in Java. Java. You are good in Java, isn't it? Java.
Java? Oh yeah, iso sit.
He spoke Java a little bit.
Or German or Spanish or French. Little bit of Italian, little bit of Dutch.
He
Little bit of Norwegian.
He learns a lot about language, exactly. So proud of you.
What? I didn't have a choice. In grade school, I had to learn Spanish like English.
Oh, really?
And in university, I took German. In high school, my father made me study Latin. Latin?
Latin.
I bet none of you have ever studied Latin.
Mister, we have a question. You may wait here, okay? We have a question. One question.
A question?
Yes. You wanna come here? Okay, big applause to your friends. Ooh. Belum apa-apa udah dibikin dan.
Siang Miss
Hai.
dan Mister. Ya saya izin bertanya mengenai TOEFL. Selain materi PDF dan website, apakah ada buku, referensi buku untuk dipelajari? Selain itu kan di sini ada 3 sesi ya. Nah, apakah bisa diberi saran yang bagian mana dulu untuk dipelajari agar bisa latihan terus, Miss? Ya.
Okay. Okay, big applause.
Very brave.
Very brave. The question is any reference book to learn TOEFL?
Yeah. I think the best book that I know is probably, I would say, Longman or Kaplan. Those two. The McGraw-Hill has one and Pearson has one, but I don't like the layout as much. Kaplan and Longman are probably the best, in my opinion. And make sure if you buy the book, like Gramedia or something, be sure to check that the CD is in it. Huh? Gramedia or, well, I guess Gramedia is really the only bookstore, huh? But if you buy the practice book, in the back, check to make sure that it has the CD.
Yes.
Sometimes people go and they steal the CD, and then you want to do the listening exercises,
Yes.
and you don't have
Yes.
the files. So make sure you check that.
You don't need to translate it, isn't it? Udah paham kan, Mr. Bernard Ngomongkah? Okay, the second question, Mister. The second question is, from the TOEFL, we have 3 parts of the questions, right? We have the listening, we have the structural written expression, and also the reading one. She asks you whether which one that need to, the first learning, whether learning which part. Is it the reading, is it the structure, or is it the listening one?
My advice, because reading and listening are both passive skills, so they're somewhat easier. The structure is the one that's the most complicated because of things like pronouns, prepositions, punctuation, sentence structure, noun-verb agreement, tenses, all of that mess that everybody hates. That's the part that they always test for. And also, the structure section is the one, I think it's the only one that has answers with multiple parts. So like one sentence will have incorrect punctuation, incorrect plural, and incorrect preposition, and the answer has to have all three of those pieces to be correct. And the two answers that are the most alike, one of them will have something that's not quite right, and the other one will be perfect. And you have to look at those two possibilities and go, which one is it? But that's probably the hardest one, is the structure, I think.
Error analysis, Mr. Bernard mentioned about error analysis. Saat kita mengerjakan structure itu kan ada written expression tuh. Yeah, it was really hard. For me also the same. Even though I'm the lectures, structure and written expression is more the hardest one ya, than listening and also reading. Kalau we are talking about listening itu get used to ya, Mr. ya. Yang penting kita often to listen the audio, isn't it, for the listening. To practice listening for the TOEFL, students better get used to heard something right. So the understanding about the vocabulary will increase.
Of course, it's always good for doing the actual test kinds of listening.
Yes.
All right, so they'll have like dialogues, and you have to figure out what they're talking about. Or the professor will give a lecture, and you have to answer questions about the content of the lecture.
Yes, the top one.
But you can practice conversation anytime, practice listening.
Yes.
By watching television. You can watch a movie, you can watch a TV show. All right, so anything in English, but turn off the subtitles. Turn them off and just listen to the voices. Right?
Yeah.
But obviously the best one is to use the test material. So that you're getting practice in learning how the test will function and not how the movies function, because oftentimes speak in the movies, the slang and stuff, that's not what they put on the test. But it's good practice just for listening.
Okay. Ya kan?
You like
clear
what?
enough.
You like Marvel? You getting tired of Marvel yet? Marvel movies? It's what?
Last time I see Marvel, just the Endgame.
Endgame, yeah. I haven't seen that yet. So no spoilers, yeah? I'll have to check that out. I've heard some good stuff about it.
Okay. We have other question from the streaming YouTube.
What is it?
Other question from the students in the streaming YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
The question is how to manage time effectively when taking the TOEFL test so that you can complete all section well. This question from Bima Apriansah dengan NIM 12191291.
Managing the time is very, very important. When you do your practice test, you will know how many questions you have and the amount of time that you have, and then it's simple division. If you have 45 questions and 60 minutes, then you're going to have a little over 1 minute per question. And on the day of the test, if you're allowed to have your watch or something, bring it with you so that when you're taking the test, you can make sure that you don't go more than 1 minute per question, or whatever the time is. That's part of the practice, is to figure out how much time and how many questions, and then make sure that you don't spend too much time on each question. If you don't get it in the time that you have, skip it, go to the next one, and keep skipping until you get the ones that you can answer, and then when you get to the end, you can come back and fill in the ones that you skipped over before. But the first thing is to get all the way through and answer all the ones that you can really fast. And that way you'll know how much time at the end that you have to go back and work on the longer ones, the harder ones, right? But get all the easy ones first, the low-hanging fruit, that's what we call that. But that's part of the practice routine, is going through and taking the exam with real time limits so that you can feel how much time you have and get used to how many questions you can answer, how quickly. And not only quickly, but accurately. So you want to be quick and accurate. And that's much harder, but it just takes practice, right? Practice, 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 practice.
A lot of practice.
I hope that answered the question, yeah?
Yes, that's good answer. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you.
Well, okay, time's up. Okay, now we will do documentation, but a little bit. I wanna adding the information untuk kalian semua. Dipantau ya informasi di Telegram, jangan sampai ada miss. Okay, even though you are direct message to me, I will in my best time lah, pasti akan saya coba jawab. Even though it's not complete, harus langsung dijawab ya, because my schedule is so tight, okay? Jadi tolong dimaklumi, but I will try my best to answer all the question from you. Sukses untuk semuanya. Terima kasih untuk hari ini. Big applause to all of you. Yeah. Thank you so much also for Mr. Bernard. Now the time is for documentation together, okay? Like the previous one. Okay, I will ask Mr. Agus, Miss Retno, Mr. Ari, could you come to the stage, please? Okay, big applause to my team, please. Yeah. Okay, kita foto bersama dengan tim Lembaga Bahasa dan our guest speaker dan juga Kaprodi Sastra Inggris. Sebentar ya. You may stay on your chair, but I need to stand up. Okay? So, someone will take our picture from the stage. You just, stand on your chair together. Mr. Agus, for the committee, could you help us to get the picture, please? No, do not need it. We just stay here. Someone will take our picture from a stage. Okay, we just look to that stage and the same with them.
And you better smile.
Oh my gosh. Okay, come on, could you help us to stand up, please? Nanti saya share di Instagram, okay? Someone next to me. Bebas. Yang belakang, could you help us for a minute please to take the picture? Biar kelihatan ramai juga yang di belakang, tolong berdiri. Sebelah kanan saya tolong berdiri. Come on. Saya ngelihat ada yang masih duduk. Yang duduk tolong berdiri. Tolong yang belakang sebelah kiri tolong berdiri. Atau butuh saya samperin ke belakang? Stand up, stand up. All of you please stand up for a while. Stand up. Sebelah kanan, stand up please. I look at you from here. Masih ada yang duduk. Oke, thank you. Miss Yanti galak ya. Oke, thank you. Yuk kita berdiri semuanya. Gaya bebas. Oke, thank you so much. Dan big applause to us. Yay. Oke. Bisa duduk sebentar, kita tutup dulu kegiatan kita in this afternoon. Oke. Terima kasih, terima kasih. Sebelah kanan duduk dulu, Miss and Mister. Could you help me to sit, please? Oke, saya bertugas sebagai moderator kalian pada siang hari ini mengucapkan terima kasih. Kalian sudah menyempatkan waktu hadir jauh-jauh. Sungguh kebanggaan. Sungguh kebahagiaan ya, ini kegiatan kalian bareng-bareng di sini. Nanti adalah wisuda di sebelah. Yeay. Kita ketemu lagi nggak ya wisuda? We'll see. Oke, akhir kata saya dari Lembaga Bahasa Universitas Berdasarkan Informatika beserta tim yang bertugas hari ini mengucapkan terima kasih. Good afternoon everyone. Take care to go back home. Have a nice trip. Have a safe trip. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye.